Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. Which piece of evidence ties Gent to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gent to the incident. Where is it? Whoop. Let's bring it out again! Wait, where is it? Oh, there. Whoop. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger. That's that blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gent, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Chief Gent, what is the meaning of this? Oh. Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery? Who, me, or do you mean you? Me, why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Ah, Christ. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? Constantly trying to turn it on someone else. Dicks. However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. That's true. Poor guy. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Evidence and forgery. Oh, pardon me. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the Chief of Police, right? There will be consequences. Ooh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, OG. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys? Telepathic? Ah. Evidence and forgery. It's pressing time. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... But Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when your fingerprints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove your investigation was illegal. Grr. I don't face anyone as slimy as this guy. I mean, Von Karma was pretty damn slimy. Can't prove when those were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. I suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If Concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery. I'm not through speaking yet, Mr. Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The Chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Mr. Wright. Think about it. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Re-engineering the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit that you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. God, this guy does not crack. At all. Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next Chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made Chief anyway. Fuck. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Oh gee, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right, you don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Fucking hell. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selflessness, would he have helped someone else out? Or someone out? I think he would. So he could be the puppet master. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the Chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well, I'll ask. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Miss Skye? Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He'll be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh my god. The judge is so dumb sometimes. Oh wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Fucking judge. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about... the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Oh! Snap. Worthy. You better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Oh, I love it. Jesus. Order, order, order! I said order! Damn, Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's, impossible. I think not. I object. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said, in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Whew. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good. Okay, the ID card record. Yeah, because it's got his number directly at the top. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7 sevens. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code? 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 sevens. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant? Oh, there we go. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, I love it. Order, order. Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Oh, it's so good. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? It's always nice to see people, like, crack. Like, it was really satisfying with Von Karma, it's even more satisfying with him. What about it? I'm the chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not, why would he be? Also, seeing them stood is a great thing as well. I hadn't seen him in days. Seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days. Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Oh dear. Not the attorney's badge. Oh, that's... oh shit, no. Oh, fuck. That. To be submitted to the chief. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you're in possession of the report. Which means you can't be sure if he filled it. Or filed it. He filed it, how do I know you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Oh ho ho! Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Yes, exactly. But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Oh yeah. Oh my god. That was a different breakdown. It wasn't even a full breakdown, but Jesus. Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. Was that not to be in the spur of the moment? No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the Chief of Police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the Chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us the evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. I'm assuming it's the stub. Entered lot at 512. Oh, I thought it would actually have told me something. The Perkin stub. This is how we moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth. You mean... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. Oh. I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. Ah. He told me he wanted me to keep a screwdriver at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the incident, I brought this to the prosecutor's office. So that was just to lure him to there. Huh. Wow. So you see, what you really took to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver. put the victim's body in your trunk. Oh, shit. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order, order, order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk and to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please, say something. I believe... Let me guess, proof is needed. Your time's up? My time's up? Sorry, righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier. A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. Oh, bloody hell. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is a current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor. Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? Nope, I don't. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. C or G? In that case, this court is forced to penalise you for your allegations against the Chief. What? I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, OG, I'll leave the rest to you. What a dick. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Is that going to penalise every single thing? Oh, maybe not. Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honour of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Lana Skye. I thought it chose somebody else then. Whew. The defendant, Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. Whew. Bonk. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Oh my god, my throat. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant! Oh my god. I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim... There will be terrible consequences. That's right, your sister will be found guilty. For Neil Marshall's murder. Wait, for something that's 2 years old? This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway. Right. Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. What a dick. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Hot damn, I need a drink. My throat, it fucking hurts. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Oh man. Oh man, that feels so much better. Yeah, thanks for your help. Oh, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. Come here! That chief, he's something else, eh pals? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office. Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean Maya? He does indeed. Still. Looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said. But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. True. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Ah, hey! Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So have you heard everything that's been going on? Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Oh yeah. Emma, why don't you wait here? No. I'm going with you. I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Yeah, it is. Ah, fuck me. God damn, I've gone through 2 of these now, and both of them have been about an hour and a half apart. Does that mean this last part's gonna take an hour and a half as well? 4.5 hours to finish the game? Nah, I don't think it will be. I fucking hope not. That'll just be a bit ridiculous. Courtroom number 9. Whew. Now then. Will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Always to be continued. At the most pivotal moment of the story, too. Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you, but Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, they do. They really do know when to pull off the best cliffhanger. It's always at the moment when you just want to keep going. Of course, the truth. Well, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only one... No, only chance we have to get Gant. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Boo-doo-doo. Boo-doo-doo. Oh my Christ. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Fuck's sake, she's actually covering up everything. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offence. Of course I'm sure.